What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to another week of Just Another Sports Betting Podcast. Week 4 college football slate is here, folks. The week 4 college football slate is here. Saturday, it is 9 a.m. So we got about, 2 hours before the first game, Central Time, of course. As you can see on the screen here, I got five plays, but there are other games I like too. There are other games I like, and we can go through them vaguely. But these are the 5 games I like right here on the screen. Yesterday, went 1-1 yesterday. If you subscribe to the Dub Club, link in the description here on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, that is come to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Would appreciate it. Anyway, if you subscribe to the Dub Club, we went 1-1 yesterday. I had the over in Syracuse and Stanford, came short by a touchdown. Wish I'd just taken Stanford to cover because that's what I felt like in my gut to begin with. And then I got scared. And once again, scared money don't make money, folks. Scared money don't make money. So I lost the over by like a touchdown, but I did have Io Manor to go over 30. No, what was it? 58.5 receiving. I think it was at 61 when it closed. I think I got it around 58. He went over that thanks to that final catch that he made on that game-winning drive Stanford had. Speaking of games last night, shout out to Illinois. This is a basketball sweatshirt, but either way, I'm a very, very fair weather Illinois football fan, but hey, huge win at Nebraska last night. If I could have bet on it here in the state of Illinois, I would have hammered them because I felt good about them going to Nebraska this week. But you can't even go to the sports books and bet on Illinois colleges anymore, unfortunately. I guess that law became active in July this year. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. But whatever. It's a whole nother. I could probably do an entire podcast on how stupid that is. But yeah. I think they were 8-point underdogs. A few weeks ago, I went into DraftKings and at Wrigley Field and learned this myself because I was going there to place a bet on Illinois to cover against Kansas, and they wouldn't let me place the bet. So if anyone is thinking about going to a book to try and place a bet on Illinois colleges, don't bother because they won't let you. And now it's completely outlawed. So it's dumb and I hate it, but whatever. It is what it is. Got to go across the border, go across the border at Indiana, Iowa. If you're closer to Iowa, maybe, just maybe I would actually do this if Wisconsin ever gets to that point of legalizing sports betting. Maybe, just maybe, but either way, yeah, that was some football last night. Terrible Thursday night football. I had the under. I should have just stuck with the under, and that's it. Everything else missed. I had Patriots +7. I even sprinkled on a money line. Not even close. Hunter Henry came a catch short on his receptions, and I had Breece Hall over 4.5 receptions. Of course, he had 4. So just a tough couple days. So can we bounce back? Last week, last Saturday, I think pretty even on the college football slate. I'm still waiting for like the big week, that makes me real delusional. Maybe this is the week because I'm just staying with the basics here. I picked 5 games that I feel fairly good about. I feel fairly good about these games. And delusional Cody will end up betting at least 15 games on the slate. So I just picked 5 games this week, and we're going to see how we do here. All right. So let's start with, I think, is the biggest game of the afternoon slate, outside of maybe Tennessee and Oklahoma. USC going to Michigan, the big house, as 4.5-point favorites. The total is 44. It's come down from like 52.5. The spread was 8.5. I think the public loves the over for this game, or the under. I mean, the public loves the under for this game. And I feel like that is the smart, safe play, but I also don't hate the over just because USC is not Texas. And I think a lot of people are looking back at that Texas game and remembering how Michigan looked offensively in that game. And it was at home as well. And they're kind of just saying, well, USC is going to do the same thing. And I just don't personally think that. I think there could be some points in this game. And at 44, it's a low total for college football. So it's not an official play for me, but I do lean the over for USC and Michigan, especially if it continues to fall before kickoff. Right now on BetMGM, I saw it at 44. So if it continues to fall, like I think there has to be a line at some point, right? It opened at 52.5. Vegas thought 52.5 was a good start. You know what I mean? So that for a reason. So I'd wait until kickoff and see see where it's at. I mean, I'd take the over now. So if it keeps falling, maybe wait like I said. But yeah, if it does randomly creep back up, I probably wouldn't go over 47 maybe. But this game to me is just not going to be one that's going to be fun to sweat points for, though. And that's why I'm taking USC minus 4.5. This is one of those, like, not overthinking it. I'm not, like, letting myself get in my head. USC is the better football team here. They are just simply put the better football team. They have the better quarterback. They have a decent run game this year, in my opinion, as well. I don't have faith in Michigan's offense. Loveland might not play today. I'm not sure where that sits. I can look it up real quick just to make sure. But Michigan implementing a new quarterback into the lineup today, who's made 7 pass attempts in his time at Michigan. I know JJ McCarthy was the guy the last few years there, obviously, but he just doesn't have a lot of experience. And now he's making a start against, one of the better teams in college football and going up against a quarterback that played really well against LSU on prime time, right? And the entire USC offense looked pretty good, in my opinion, too. Like, they were able to run the ball, and they were able to control a lot of that game against LSU. I was looking at the weather for this game just to see if that is why the total has fallen. I think the weather's supposed to be pretty fine. I'm bringing it up right now while we're doing this on the ESPN app. Yeah, to me, this game feels like one you just don't overthink. It's a 2:30 game on CBS, so it's a national televised game. Michigan 2-1, USC's 2-0, and again, their first game was against LSU, and that was a pretty good game. So, looking like it's supposed to be 84 and sunny, partly cloudy. The weather's supposed to be pretty fine there. So I think that the passing game will be fine for them. Sometimes whenever you get into when the weather conditions don't play to your favor, maybe that can change things. But yeah. So again, I'm taking USC minus 4.5. I just think that this team is so much better than Michigan. I can't believe I'm saying that, the reigning national champs, but Jim Harbaugh not there. I don't like the defense for Michigan has not been good against the pass as well. They've been better against the run. I'll give them that much, but they haven't been that great against the pass. Last week, they just looked very meh against Arkansas State. Sat here and watched it. And they are definitely not the same team. They're still trying to implement a bunch of new pieces. I still think the future is bright for them, but right now I don't feel good. So I hate taking road favorites. I really do. But this is like how I felt about Alabama at Wisconsin last week. I took Alabama minus 16.5 last week, and they won by 32 because they're just the better football team. They have the better coach, in my opinion, too, in terms of in this game as well as the game I was just referencing. So Lincoln Riley, he just knows how to turn quarterbacks into Heisman candidates. And I feel like this could be a big step for Miller Moss in his collegiate career here at the Big House at Michigan today on or in an afternoon game as 4.5-point favorites. So give me USC minus 4.5. I did have one prop play from this game, and that is Zachariah Branch over 38.5 receiving at minus 115 on BetMGM. Like I said, Michigan hasn't been very good against the pass. They are ranked. Let me look. I'm looking this up right now. I believe they are ranked 90th in the country against the pass on defense. They are, yes. They rank 90th against the pass defensively. Now, they're 15th against the run, allowing around 70 yards per game. But through the air, they're allowing 234 yards per game. That's 90th in the nation. USC 7th in the nation in passing, averaging around 336 yards per game. So I think Miller Moss has a big game, and Zachariah Branch, he's one of the main targets for him. He had a decent game against LSU. We can go through the game log for him. I think each of his first 2 games, he's had 6 targets in each game. Come on, come up. Sorry for the shitty audio here. Branch. Refresh the Outlier app, which, by the way, Outlier is a great tool if you guys are looking to, look at trends and stuff related to sports betting. It's a great app. Why they took everything down on? Well, that's annoying. Here, I'll see if I can bring it up on my phone. Zachariah Branch over 38.5 receiving. Again, he had I believe he had 56 against LSU. All right, so let me change this. Here we go. Each of the last 2 weeks, he's had four catches. His last 2 games, actually, 4 catches. Had 6 targets his last game, and then 5 targets against LSU. And another thing too is that USC is coming off the bye, and they're going to be rested for this game. Well rested. They prepared for this game, I think. All right. So, and then also USC, they pass it so much more than they run it. They pass it 58% while they run it at 42% so far this year. Branch also leads the team in targets with 11. I kind of like him to score a touchdown too, but Michigan's actually been pretty good at not allowing touchdowns. In general, they rank 55th in the country, but who knows? They did allow a lot of points against Texas, so I wouldn't hate it. It's right around plus 140. I don't hate it. It's just I think he's going to rack up some yards to help this USC team move down the field today. So give me Zachariah Branch over 130 or over 38.5 receiving. God, it's early. Okay, let's move on to the next game. Virginia at Coastal Carolina. 3.5-point home underdogs. This is a huge game for college football playoff implications because of the new rule, the new setup or whatever you want to call it. I'm bringing it all up on my screen right now. Why did I click that? There we go. So, to be honest with you, I was really surprised to see Coastal as 3.5-point dogs at home. Maybe it's because they're a Sun Belt team and Virginia's in the ACC, right? Coastal loves to run the ball. They're ranked 13th in the country with 251 yards per game running the ball. And they're going up against a run defense ranked 78th in the country. Virginia is ranked 78th in the country against the run. Coastal Carolina is 22nd in scoring. They're 32nd in red zone efficiency. Their defense is the statistics are pretty middle of the pack, but they have forced 6 turnovers so far this year in just 2 games, which is top 20 of the country, or 3 games. I think they played 3 games. Yeah, they're 3-0. They have a chance to go 4-0 today. And Virginia just hasn't done a lot to really earn any of my confidence in laying the points on the road. And they're 5-4 all time against Sunbelt teams. So they've let Sunbelt teams hang around with them. And they're coming off a loss to Maryland. And sure, this could be a bounce back spot for Virginia, but I just don't think Coastal is a team to take lightly. I did week 1. I didn't think they were going to win week 1, and then they blew out whoever the heck they played. I forgot who they played week 1, but yeah, I like Coastal to not only cover this 3.5, but maybe even win outright against Virginia today. I don't know. You look at just each team's like stats. Like even I mentioned red zone efficiency. Coastal 92%, Virginia 83%. Third down conversion rate, Coastal 38%, Virginia 22%. I think it will come down to Coastal Carolina's defense, and they're ranked 74th in scoring defense this year, which isn't great. It's not terrible. It's not great though. They got to find a way to slow down the passing game for Virginia. That's probably what they've done best. So far this year, they're ranked 25th, averaging around 300 yards per game through the air. They haven't really been able to run the ball. And if you can't establish the run that well on the road, then I don't feel it's hard for me to believe in you. All right. And again, on defense, Coastal, they've been top 30 in terms of forcing turnovers and sacks and QB hits, stuff like that, tackles for loss. I think their defense is, again, not the best, but I think it can hang with this Virginia team. So give me Coastal Carolina plus 3.5, maybe sprinkle on the money line. Scott from Iowa, what's up, man? Iowa is hitting the over. Rodents suck at football. Iowa's hit the over, 3 straight weeks? I can't wait to watch another 12-10 game between these two schools. Let's just jump right to it. Even though Mississippi State's an 11 o'clock game, we'll go to it, but I'll just use Scott's comment as a reason to transition to Iowa and Minnesota. Now, I kind of like Minnesota on the money line because I just have not been impressed by Iowa. I mean, they were trailing at halftime last week to freaking Troy. All right. They give up a ton of points to Troy. I'm not touching that though, because like Minnesota is run by a guy named PJ Fleck, who I think sucks as a coach. So I just think that this is going to be an old-fashioned Big Ten. This is a real Big Ten football. All right, all these Pac-12 teams coming to the Big Ten. They're gonna one day find themselves in a nice 12-10 game, a nice 15-13 game, where all you do is punt the football and run the ball, and everyone has it on as background noise while they're all watching all the other games that are actually fun to watch. So, yeah, give me the under in Iowa and Minnesota. I cannot trust these offenses, man. Minnesota, if you want me to pick a side on which team wins, Minnesota, they probably should have beat not USC, but UNC. They missed a freaking field goal at the very end of that game. But they've played Nevada and Rhode Island, But I do think they have a really solid defense. And these two schools, they're rivals. They know each other. They're gonna come to play today. Iowa's 5th against the run, 76th against the pass. So maybe that scares me a little bit, but I'm just not afraid of Minnesota's offense. If they go over, they go over. Maybe I'll stop playing the bet. Maybe Iowa overs are officially a thing. If they go 4 straight weeks of going over, maybe I will give them some credit. Also, fun thing from here, I think PJ Fleck and the offensive coordinator for Iowa used to work together. So I think there's going to be like a chess match between those two guys in terms of how this game goes. But who knows? I don't really know. All I know is that this game is a game that I'll have like on the third TV, and I will be rooting for no points, all punts, lots of defense, lots of grit, like a real Midwest boy will do. That's what I do. All right. Give me the under Iowa, Minnesota. I think I'm BetMGM. I saw it was down to 35 now. I saw it at 35.5 last night. So very low total, but whatever. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Okay. All right. Let's go back to the 11 a.m. slate. So USC Michigan is a 2:30 game. Virginia and Coastal Carolina, I think, starts at 1 p.m. And then Mississippi State's the 1:11 a.m. game. I like. There was another game that I like in the 11 a.m. slate. I lean Kansas. But man, have they been bad since they lost to Illinois. I mean, they lost outright to UNLV last week as 9-point favorites. So I'm not taking that. And also, like, West Virginia, if I were to flip it to the other side, West Virginia has just brutally destroyed me each game I've bet on them. Last week, they should have beat Pitt. They led almost the entire game against Pitt, only to freaking give it away at the end. That was brutal. So I'm just not touching that game. But if I were to bet it, I'd probably leaning Kansas. And I don't have the guts. I am playing scared. I am scared here. I am saying Kansas, though. So if you want to just go ahead and take it, and then whenever Kansas wins, you can come back and tell me you should have bet it, Cody, then go ahead. But that's the only other 11 a.m. game that I like outside of Mississippi State plus 6.5. All right, Mississippi State plus 6.5. Florida, they just are. How do I say this? They are kind of in shambles. Billy Napier, a lot of the national talking heads are talking about his job being on the hot seat right now. I understand Mississippi State hasn't exactly been good either. That's why they're 6.5-point underdogs at home. But Florida is 0-3 against the spread as I talk right now. They're going into today's game planning to use 2 quarterbacks. And I don't know about y'all, but whenever a team is planning to use 2 quarterbacks, it just sounds like you don't have a quarterback at all. I think going on the road with this strategy isn't exactly the best strategy. And Mississippi State has actually been pretty good against the pass. They ranked 45th against the pass, allowing just 174 yards per game. Last I checked, Florida is going to be without 2 of their wide receivers. And yeah, I don't know if Mississippi State wins this game, but I feel like 6.5 is too much, and I don't trust this Florida offense. You just look at Florida. Let's look at Florida's games in general. They're minus 245 on the money line. So they lost at home to Texas A&M last week, 33-20. They pounded Samford, whatever. And then they got blown out by Miami the first game of the season. Mississippi State, they got pounded at home against Toledo. And they lost by a touchdown to Arizona State. And they got pounded, they pounded Eastern Kentucky. So they're 1-2 on the season. Losing as bad as they did to Toledo is pretty bad. I won't lie. I will not lie. That's pretty bad. But through these first couple weeks, Mississippi State, better third down conversion rate. They've scored more points. They're right up there in terms of passing with the Florida offense. So if anything, I feel like this is just a pretty even matchup. I would say that I think also Mississippi State has the strength of schedule, a higher ranked strength of schedule as well. They're going to be without 2 wide receivers today. Mississippi State got a couple running backs out, whatever. But I just feel like these teams are pretty even. So I think 6.5 is too many points. So give me Mississippi State plus 6.5. You want to buy it up to a touchdown? I won't blame you there. Okay. Final game. Michigan State at Boston College. Boston College, 6.5-point favorite at home against the Spartans. All right, let's start off with the weather conditions. I was just looking this up earlier. There's rain, and we got 15-mile-an-hour winds. And Boston College loves to run the ball, folks. They love to run the ball. Thomas Castellanos. Let me look up their team pass and run rate here. Boston College. Okay. So Boston College, they came up just short against Mizzou last week. Mizzou, top 10 team in the country. I think they were ranked number 6. Boston College went to Mizzou, Columbia, Missouri, the worst state in this country, Missouri, and lost by 6? So I think this is a game Boston College comes out and just steamrolls Michigan State. I'm not buying in on Michigan State. I know they had that comeback win against Maryland. I get it. I absolutely get it, right? But I also watched them against FAU. They won 16-10 that game. That game was disgusting. I know they just won against like an FCS school this past week, 40-0. I don't care. Boston College has played better teams. I know Florida State has not lived up to the hype. They've been terrible, but they did beat Florida State at Florida State by double digits, and they hung with Mizzou. I think that those are 2 solid games that you can say that they have, that you can give them some respect. Michigan State, that comeback win against Maryland just means nothing to me. I'm not buying in on Maryland either. So there's a reason that Boston College 6.5 point favorite here. Coming off the close loss to Mizzou, bounce back spot. I think they're a good team. And the way that that Boston College wants to do things, I think with the weather conditions actually really benefits them. They love to run the ball, folks. They got 614 yards total rushing this year compared to Michigan State's 488. But Michigan State has more passing yards. I think Boston College has been more efficient in the red zone, 80%. They're both about even on third down conversions. They both have the same strength schedule. But Michigan State's going to be, they have 2 wide receivers who are doubtful, Glover and Marsh, both doubtful. I think Boston College has the better defense. I think they have the better offense. They have more experience than Michigan State. Michigan State, I just think they're not as experienced as Boston College team that has gone on the road and hung with top 10 teams in the country, something that Michigan State hasn't done yet this year. So I like Boston College to come out at home. Honestly, if you really want the better odds, maybe find an alternate line, -9.5, maybe -10. I think they win by double digits tonight at home. Weather conditions that are good for them, the way that they want to play. Let me bring up. I have one prop from this game. Thomas Castellanos, the quarterback for Boston College, right? Under 184 yards passing. All right. Last 2 games he's had against Duquesne and Mizzou, he's gone over 200. I get it. So he had 249 last week, the week before 234. But with the weather conditions, with the rain, the wind, and all that, and the fact that Boston College run rate, they run the ball 65% of their snaps so far this year and only throw it 34. And with these weather conditions, like I said, I think he goes under. I think Boston College is going to do everything they can to run the ball tonight, considering the conditions at home. And what do you call it? Michigan State, 38th in the country against the pass. So I think that, again, Boston College is going to try and run the ball as much as they can. They'll do it with Castellanos as well. He had 66 yards. I think he had 66 yards rushing, first game of the year. 73 against Florida State. Only 16 against Mizzou. But that game the game script was a lot different than I think this game, obviously. The weather was great against Mizzou. They were also trailing for the second half, so he had to start throwing the ball, especially in the second half of that game. So I think Boston College is going to lead most of this game, and they're just going to run the ball. So I know it's kind of a low total, 184.5. Yeah, give me Thomas Castellanos under 184.5 passing yards as the other prop that I like tonight. So yeah, I am those are today's plays, guys. Boston College -6.5, Iowa, Minnesota under 35.5, Mississippi State +6.5, Coastal Carolina plus 3.5, and then USC minus 4.5 at the Big House today. All right. So thanks for all y'all who are watching along. If you come to this after I'm not live and to check it out, I appreciate it. And hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you tomorrow for NFL bets. I have to do it really early. I have to go pick up a friend at the airport tomorrow. So I will see you all bright and early tomorrow. And yeah, we will we'll try and bounce back on the NFL slate. Last week, noon slate, terrible. Afternoon slate, great, undefeated. Fair night on Sunday Night Football, and then just kind of a meh Monday night. So I'm thinking about the same thing about the NFL as I am college football right now. We need a bounce back week in general overall. So hopefully we get that, and it starts today here with these games and more. Hope you all have a good rest of your Saturday. Enjoy college football. We only get so many weeks of it throughout the year. So yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow, and ILL for all you Illini fans.